drive is fueled by Georgia Natural Gas, and the win streak has reached its terminus here in Houston, Texas. 117-95 was the final count in a game that wasn't that close in the second half. Houston led by as many as 34 as the streaking Hawks met their match tonight in the Rockets. That's Brian Oliver, Matt Weiner. Good to have you with us. This really got out of hand in the third quarter. There were signs in the second quarter. It looked like the Hawks had made some progress with a 10-0 run, got back within single digits at halftime. Third quarter, all Houston, and then the game was basically over.
I thought an interesting point at halftime, Mike Bray talked about the fact that this team, you know, during an 11-game stretch, you get accustomed to playing a certain way, and you did. You played some teams that weren't as good as this Houston team, obviously. Houston came out with a level of physicality. They broke up some of your things and what you wanted to do, and I didn't think that the Hawks did a good enough job of being prepared on how to come out and fight against that. I thought in the second quarter, they made a run and cut into that lead. The third quarter, there were some opportunities where you had to be a little bit more disciplined on defense with your shot making. And I thought that was one of those things. This is a valuable learning point for them because you played against a good Houston Rocket team that normally is going to come out night in and night out, and they're going to beat most teams because of the talent that they have and the identity. For the Hawks right now, going back, you've got 12 games left. You've got to go back and kind of regroup. Get yourself together against this Golden State team that lost tonight at the Pistons and look forward and let this be something that you don't take for granted coming out thinking that you can basically get whatever you want.
Well, basketball games, as you know, are never one thing, and there were a number of things that worked in Houston's favor and against the Hawks in this game in particular. You took the words out of my mouth. Mike Bray summed it up really well at halftime when he said, we have not seen a defense like this in 3 weeks. And they caused the Hawks problems, particularly in the half court, and Atlanta wasn't able to get out and run the way they have been during the win streak. That means they're in the half court offense. It gets a little stagnant against a physical, long defense, and you see the results in terms of the numbers. Offensively, Houston got most of what they wanted in this game, playing off Durant, playing off Alperen Şengün. And for a team that doesn't hit a ton of threes, they hit a very high percentage tonight. That's a forward key. 14 made threes by the Rockets.
Well, I think the reason they were able to get a lot of those threes is because I thought that the Hawks were so focused and probably overly focused on trying to shut down Kevin Durant and Alperen Şengün that it allowed them to get some type of rhythm with knocking down the threes, because I thought that in the first quarter, especially in the third, Rockets did a good job of being able to get those wide open threes. I thought inserting Reed Shepherd into the lineup paid his dividends for them because he was able to be a shot maker for them. And then when you talk about the fact that how Houston was able to come out, I thought that they were flawless, and how they limit the Hawks. Hawks spacing was off. They spent too much time dribbling. It wasn't the typical Hawks offense that you're expecting. You know, the ball to pop, press the paint, get uncontested shots. And then you did mention earlier about the fact that when they were not able to get going, you saw again, Hawks had turnovers early. It wasn't always just the defense, but I thought that trying to make passes that you normally don't make. And against a good team like Houston, you have to make sure that you take advantage of opportunities. You don't want to give them an opportunity to get out and run. And I thought earlier on, Houston was able to get 10 quick fast break points, and that was able to allowing them to be able to get probably the momentum and get this game out of reach. And then when you look at guys like Kevin Durant and how he's able to play, you knew that you weren't going to stop him. Şengün, we knew coming into this game how he's a menace in drawing the fouls. You got the Hawks in early foul trouble, and they never really got any type of offensive rhythm.
Offensively, I thought it was the turnovers in the first half, first quarter in particular, that kind of set a tone for Atlanta. And then they were chasing things in the third quarter. Second half, the Hawks shot 37% and just 2 of 19 from three-point range. If you're looking for bright spots, look no further than Zachary Risacher. The activity level was there, and he knocked down some shots for 16 points.
He was one of the guys that I thought there was a really bright spot, because from the time that he came into the game, you know, he got that 3 to go. We often talk about him and his energy and what he brings to the game. You saw tonight the 16 points, 6 rebounds, the efficient 6 for 8, and perfect from behind the arc. I know some would challenge that, well, it was in the gut of the game, and he got a lot of his points, but I thought that throughout the game, I thought that he was positive as far as the influence and how he's attacking the rim, the amount of energy that he played with. And for a young player like this, any chance you get to give him some burn, to continue to let him work on his craft and increase his his confidence is going to pay. This was one game, and I know that there are probably some Hawks fans that are probably a little frustrated because coming into this game, you expected to probably extend this streak. But right now, you've lost just one game. You get a chance to right the ship, and we still have plenty of basketball left. And I feel like, the sixth spot for us is still right there in our grasp, and it depends on how well we play.
Definitely very attainable. It depends on how the Hawks respond to this loss, and sometimes you need to be slapped in the face a little bit, right?
Yeah,
kind of what happened tonight. They took a blow.
When they belt to ass.
Yes. Wow. Yes. Okay. I've never heard that phrase before. Said just like that. We'll hear from Quinn Snyder on the other side. Hawks on the wrong end tonight in Houston.
Yeah, I think they came out, and we talked about it, just really urgent and really aggressive, and we were playing hard, but they sped us up a little bit, where I think early in the game it affected our decision making. Everything was a little bit rushed, and then I thought we responded by getting more aggressive, and that's why it was a game at halftime. I think the third quarter was a combination of a number of things. We had some really good looks from three that we didn't make. When we did get to the rim, we didn't convert. Number of high percentage layup opportunities in the paint. It's really hard to defend against those. So I thought they were able to get out and run and convert on those. And then we just, when you play a team that's as physical as they are, that switches the way they do, you have to move the ball before you can attack, just to loosen them. And we started to get a feel for that as the game went on. But as I said, we competed. We didn't play well, but I think there's a difference between those things, and I think we continue to compete, and that's how you begin to raise your level.
I was going to say, some of those early turnovers in the first quarter, it seemed like you guys were driving into the paint, they were crowding it.
Yeah.
Just how do you, overcorrect maybe, or try to figure out?
Yeah, just one less dribble.
Yeah.
And that pass may not be for a shot, but again, it forces a closeout, and maybe that guy can drive, or there's one more pass the other way. You may not score on the possession, but the alternative is taking a tough contested shot, or, as I said, or getting the ball deflected or stripped or something like that. And we, by and large, we've been doing that. But I think their physicality and their pressure sped us up some.
When you get so much affirmation from winning 11 straight games, how do you learn from this one and kind of bounce back quickly?
Yeah, I think one of the things we've been able to do, while winning, is continue to get better. When you play a team, and not that obviously they're a good team, but they're also a team that really came out focused and aggressive and urgent, and those are the opportunities you have to get better. We don't have time to watch film tonight, but our guys understanding that and processing that, I think, is important, where it's an opportunity to raise your level, and we need to be able to do that. And there were times in the game that we did, but we have to do it more consistently.
And one last one on Zach tonight, just how active he was. It was probably one of his, stronger games of the season.
Yeah, well, he's been competing, and when you do that, every game's going to be a little different. But there were some opportunities that, that presented themselves to him, and he shot the ball confidently. He was mixing it up, pulled up a couple loose balls, did a good job defensively. So, as I've said, we believe in what he's doing, and every night's a little bit different. We're in a situation now, down the stretch where, the way we have to approach these games is like the playoffs have already started. And when we do that, hopefully we get a chance to have a 7-game series. But we've got 2 7-game series the rest of the season. And, it's good to see Zach, play the way he did tonight.
Thanks.
Okay, all right. Thank you.
Well, win streaks, like all good things, come to an end sooner or later. That happened here tonight. Time for FanDuel revisit Alperen Şengün, a near triple-double tonight. And if you include turnovers, he's flirting with a quadruple-double.